G'day everyone. Proud to say Barkarati is brought to you by Radix Nutrition, makers of the most technically comprehensive nutrition products that have ever existed. Unlock your potential with Radix. G'day listeners, welcome to Barkarati the Sailing Podcast. My name is Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors, but of course I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. So first off, let's welcome Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
Hey bud.
G'day world. Had a bit of feedback about the cows stealing my internet last week. There's been a bit of banter back and forward. You'll be pleased to know, Jay, that it's daylight savings, so the cows are now well and truly in bed, so it's all good. The internet should be good.
I didn't know cows stole internet. I didn't know that was a thing. When did that happen?
Well, that was what was happening last week. Remember the cow walked.
Oh.
He's frozen.
He's frozen. You couldn't you
Literally.
couldn't set that
is
up. Benny.
Bloody. I don't know whether he staged this.
Yeah,
That is good.
well, we'll keep going because you'll come back in. But let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Yeah, Mr. Nick Byers.
That's good.
That's amazing.
He's still frozen. No cows here. Exciting day, though. First day sail on the Pace, the Curve 40 plus.
Oh, did you? You did? Oh,
No, I will be
today.
going for a sail today.
Yeah.
So that's going to be exciting with the boys, with Carlin and the boys. So be good to get her out of the stables, so to speak. Had a chat to a few of the lads that had already been on it.
Yeah.
They reckon it's just pull the trigger and go.
She just
No
goes.
worries.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it looks like that too. It does look a lot like that. So that's what
It's been a good week. Managed to kind of re-establish myself into the family. Still not sure whether the front doors were locked or not because I just came around the back because we never locked that one. But the locks have changed for that matter. So
well, at least you're home. Oh, it looked like the kids were happy to see you home last week, mate. So that's good.
oh yeah, no, that novelty's worn off now.
Yep, cool.
It's Dad, can I have some money?
Oh.
Dad, can I get a phone?
Yep.
Dad, can I do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Cool.
Back in.
BP, you come back to us, bud?
Yeah, mate. The cows are gone, so it's all good.
That's just hilarious. You couldn't have timed that better.
Have you been practicing that all week?
No, I have not actually. And the funny part is, it's I don't know what it is. It's terrible where I am. Anyway, we'll deal with it. We'll get through it.
Oh. Well, let's get our guest in because our poor old guest was trying not to laugh and come onto air then. That was pretty funny. I was watching him. So our guest today is two-time Irish Sailor of the Year. So you know it's going to be a good conversation because we've got
A couple of pairs of Dew Barrys.
He's got a few pairs of Dew Barrys. He's been doing the single-handed circuit, so he's been in France for nearly 10 years, probably 10 years now, going through the 650s and into the Figaro, and last year won the Solitaire du Figaro, and he sails the boat Smurfit Kappa Kingspan, now with Kingspan all the way through. So he has got a big project or program ahead of him. He's got to defend his Figaro. He's also put his hand up to say he's going to go to the Vendée, so let's see if we can help him to get there. That's the goal. We want to talk to a good bloke who's trying to make it happen, and an Irishman in France, which obviously is just one of the funniest things in the world. And
especially come rugby day.
True crack.
Yeah. So let's welcome to the show Tom Dolan. How are you, mate?
Well, top of the morning to you, boys.
There we go.
I had to get that in there. I had to get that one in there.
BP had been practicing that one as well. Got him.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. No, I love a good Irishman. It's the way forward.
Yeah. I've heard. I was doing my homework. I was listening to the other Irish guests, so I'm ready for it. You can throw at me.
Yeah. Can you does your Irish accent come across in your French at all?
It does apparently, yeah.
That's good,
apparently my French accent comes across when I'm at home speaking Irish or English, and vice versa. Yeah, so people. It actually they find it exotic here. Irish people speaking
Oh, hello.
Irish accent in France.
Do we need to
Mad,
turn
innit?
this? Do we need
why
to
the hell-
turn this up a little bit? Put an exotic.
Why do you think I've been here for 15
Hey.
years? Yeah, mad. Like I've a bit of a strong-ish Irish
Going to be the
country
X-rated
accent.
version, the X-rated version of Bar Karate.
Yeah. So it's great. Gets me out of all sorts of problems with like banks and the tax man and stuff like that. So it's great.
Is that right? That's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
And the
I
tax
did
man. Welcome to Bar Karate. Right,
Thanks a million.
mate. It's a big career you've gone. You're one of these blokes that's rolled the dice, mate. You've had a red hot go. You're sitting there like a lost little Irishman 10 years ago, having your first little go. You know, it's is it working out how you planned?
To be honest, I didn't really plan it working out this well. It's actually been 15 years. I first landed in France in 2010 in Concarneau. And when I arrived here, I wanted to be a préparateur, shore crew for a Figaro. That was my big dream back then. I think I was young. I wanted to learn more about sailing. You know, I loved the sport like you lads do, and that's what first brought me here, I suppose. And yeah, I never realized, never thought it'd get this big. You know,
Wow.
just go this well. No.
And what?
That's great.
Before we go back to like the that, what was the drive to get to France? Was it just what you could see happening across the channel, or the single-handed side?
It was because there was I don't know if you ever heard of it, an association or sailing school called the Gleno, or Glenans, would it be called more in Irish?
Yeah, well, in Australia, we'd say Les Glennons.
Les Glennons, yeah, exactly, yeah. In Irish, in Ireland, we'd be like Glennons.
Good guy, Les. Good guy,
Yeah,
Les.
Les.
Set up that
Good
whole
man,
sailing
Les.
school and everything.
That's
Great,
in
great
Cork.
great bar karate man, Les.
In Cork.
But they had, it used to be in Cork, exactly, and it was great. That's how kind of what got me going, really. It was, it unfortunately closed down, but it was such a great. You could literally wander up, knock on the door, and say, "Here, look, I'd love to learn about sailing, and can I volunteer?" And you could be a volunteer, and for every 3 weeks of volunteering you do, they give you 1 week of training courses. And then you could gradually work your way up. And it was just completely, the idea of the place was just to make sailing completely accessible, really, to anyone and everyone. Yeah, no, it was brilliant.
On your Les.
Good man, Les. Yeah.
Good on Les.
Generous man, so generous he actually ended up going bankrupt. So.
Oh yeah, yeah, that sucks. Yeah. But anyway,
but I was a volunteer and then a base manager and an instructor, and then I managed the workshop of the base in Baltimore. And when the Irish kind of thing was a bit independent back then, when it went bust, it got kind of swallowed back up into the French Mother Association, you could call it, which still exists, which is still one of the biggest sailing schools in Europe.
Yeah.
And they kind of said, I've been hanging around with all these French dudes for a couple of years, and one of them, a buddy of mine, Camille, was going on about this Figaro thing, And I always thought, Figaro, what? Like, because he didn't really speak very good English, and I didn't speak French at the time, so I was like, he wants to be a singer or something. I was like, Figaro. It took me a while actually. And then he showed me a video on YouTube. I remember, forget it, Bostic Findlay. It was Charles Coudrillier video. One of the first helicopter videos. Your man on his own is spinning under a spinnaker, and I was like, that's just the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And he was there. Oh yeah, when I go back to France, I'm gonna be walking on them. I'm gonna be a preparateur. And I said, what? Jesus, how you're gonna be going to doing that? It's like, yeah. And then at the same time, they started talking to me about going and doing an internship kind of thing with them in Concarneau in Brittany. I just so I would have been basically paid for 9 months to learn how to sail. So how would you say no, really? I didn't speak French, but sure, I got over that.
Yeah.
That's how I first ended up here, because I said, "Feck it." I kind of understood by then. That was where I was at,
So you basically said "we" in your best Irish accent, and off you went.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you say that side of the coast, you'd say "weh."
Yeah. Way.
Concarneau, it's my favourite spot. It sounds like I'm ordering a chicken schnitzel of some sort, doesn't it? Like when you're in Concarneau, like it just sounds.
I'd never heard of it.
It sounds like
I'd never heard of it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And when I got here, I remember getting here and going, gee, like I was only 23 or 22 or something. I was like, yeah, well, geez, I hope the sailing's good because I'm not going to stay here long. Here I am
10 years
15
later.
Yeah, 15, yeah, 15.
Just for those, it's just to the north of Lorient for those who are looking for it on a map. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah. So, and then your life just it was a picture of Charles Caudrelier sailing along, video of Charles sailing along, and an invitation to earn a little bit of money going sailing. It's pretty hard to say no, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I kind of said, look, I just go to France, learn, I have a job, just see what happens kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then and he was, so I did a bit, I was working in with Lidleno, and then on the weekends and stuff, I go sailing with him on the Figaro 2. He the Figaro 2 down in Saint Gilles Quad V that someone had lent him, that this fella had lent him, was like a private owner, lent him the boat, and in exchange he would train on it and just look after it. So we used to go out and, make all sorts of stupid mistakes and break things, and I fixed them.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get going, and I was kind of, geez, how could you get to do this, whatever? And he was, there's a thing called a Mini, you should go on their website, they have a website, and there might be some double-handed race and whatever. So I did that for a year, a couple, like every now and again there'd be double-handed racing until in 2013, I think it was, which would have been 2 years later. I did a mini fast now with a fella, really, really nice lad called Jean-Louis Tout-le-Monde.
Yeah.
Who it's a nice
Tom,
story.
2013, that was Douarnenez, right?
Yeah.
Yep, that was the delayed start. So we were there with Richard Hewson on one of our little minis, the RG 650. That was my little project then. So that
I remember them.
I was there for that month. I mean, that was just an insane month.
Yeah, they sent us south, didn't they?
They sent you to, they tried to send you to the corner of, what was it, Saga or whatever it was called?
No, I didn't do the Transat 2013. No. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was nuts. Yeah, no, I didn't do the Transat that year, but I was at the start and it was at the start. I was at a couple of times at the start because it took about 3 weeks to get them going. Yeah, that was insane.
It was insane weather, and the longer it took, the worse it got.
Yeah. Jan ended up upside down. Lipinski did a 360.
You got it. Yes, yes.
He tubed. He did a tube. Is that what you do in surfing? No, he tubed
it. He ended up in Turkey on a ship.
Yeah,
he ended up in
exactly.
Turkey.
Yeah.
I picked him up, and
and there was another fella on the boat.
Lipinski.
He was a Polish. His name was Jan Lipinski. It was a Polish name, and it was a Polish seaman on board whose name was Lipinski as well. Gas.
Oh, yeah, on the boat.
That'll be right.
Wow, that's some detail.
Yeah.
And
he's still smoking cigarettes after ending up all the way in Turkey, just smoking with the boys in the bridge.
Well, he's a French sailor, so
did obviously doing that.
He goes all right, Ollie.
Doing that fastnet on a 650. That as an Irishman, that must have felt. I'm in my home waters here. Pretty crazy.
Yeah,
pretty hard to not just keep turning left, right instead of left before you got to the island.
Yeah, it was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, that was good.
So did you enjoy the 650s?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I had a great little boats. I suppose BP knows he was they're great little boats, and I think they were really accessible back then. Now it's the price has gone kind of a bit wild, but that's how I got started.
Yeah.
Man, Jean-Louis at the end of it, so he was like well into his 60s, and he'd done it a few years before, and this was kind of him giving it another go because he'd retired. I remember at the end of the race, he was like, "Geez, Tom, look, I can't see it. I can't do this here. But here, if we got on well. If you want, I'll lend you the boat for the season.
Ah,
wow.
Look after it, do it up a little bit and do the Transat on it and sell it and manage the sale for me, at the end of it, which made sense, I suppose, for everyone. He came, he did a couple of deliveries, we did a couple of training sessions and stuff together. So he got to sail the boat. I looked after it, I did it up a bit, and then at the end, he got it back.
Wow.
And I did the mini Transat in 2015,
yeah. Yeah.
Just to kind of see if I
you got 22nd then?
Yeah, had all sorts of adventures,
Yeah. So it is quite a crazy thing, that whole watching a whole bunch of people do the mini transat. That is quite amazing. We get into it each year. We it's one of the things that each time it goes, we get fully into it. You know, so we try and do a little focus on it. Just all these people racing across the Atlantic in these little tiny boats, and you know, now as you say, they've changed. They've turned into all sorts of crazy looking little things at the moment. So yeah. So you're not the only nutter out there on the water, my friend.
No, plenty of them around here. More and more of them. Yeah.
Would you say, Tom, that probably being one of the bigger races, that the what you didn't know kind of kept you performing well, as opposed to what you having been in the around the minis or what Figaros for however long now, like having a lot more knowledge. Basically, the lack of knowledge initially helped you just keep pushing the boat harder.
Ignorance is bliss, no?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, no, maybe, yeah.
Well,
I mean, so at the start, you do stupid things at the start. You know, you push yourself to, you know, hallucinations and not eating and being destroyed. And I came back, I lost, I think, with like 7 kilos, whatever. I was like, I look, you know, things you never do now, like, you know.
And you'd go, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah.
Whereas now, yeah, exactly.
Now, if you're hallucinating, it's a bad sign. It means you managed the race wrong or something, you know, something's gone wrong. You can't perform if you're hallucinating, you know.
I mean, with the mini, like you just, as Spicy said, you know, you just kept getting better and better in that mini class. Like you next year you started winning. I think you were the first time an Irishman had won in that class in single-handed class, you know. And then I think in the Transat 2017 you were 5th. So you obviously worked out how to make those little boats go. So you know.
Yeah, and it was a very interesting time. The 2016-17 cycle, I suppose you could call it, because there was a new boat in, was the Pogo 3.
Oh yeah.
So all of the top boats were that. So it was almost like the Figaro in a way. It was almost one design, because all the top boats were that. So the racing was really, really close, and we really pushed ourselves really, really high and far, and it was good. No, and then I suppose that's what kind of said why not go for the Figaro afterwards, I think. Plus finding money. So.
Yeah. So now you're in the Figaro class, obviously. So that's the One Design Figaro 3 now. So that's what it's been for quite a while now, which is the Beneteau with the little wings out the side. It looks a little bit like the praying.
The upside down foils.
Upside down foils, yeah.
Yeah.
All One Design, and obviously, you know, the win of the Figaro is a big deal because everyone's racing identical boats. So you've got some talent hidden away in that little Irish body of yours, mate. What do you reckon it is?
You wouldn't take it to look at me, would you?
Well, we are an audio.
Is this the right fella? Where's Tom?
It is an audio podcast, so you're all good.
Oh, all right, sorry.
So where? I was just going to say, the question is like, where to win in a One Design class offshore like that? Is there more importance about? Do you put more energy into your boat speed or more energy into your navigation?
I think at the start, when people start in the class, the big battle or the big struggle they have is to get boat speed. And then in the front, I'd say the first 10, there's maybe every year there's about 10 boats that can win it or podium. And at the front, everyone goes more or less at the same speed, you know. Because you could say there's a base speed that you have to be in contention that I probably had for the last 4 or 5 years, I think. 4 years. Well, no, 4 or 5 years, I'd say. And then it comes down to...
Is a learned thing? Once you sort of get to that, it's pretty hard to forget how to make them go that speed? Or is it just everyone got different ideas or different sort of philosophies?
First of all the boats are the same. And then the sails were all very different. And then slowly, whoever did buy her sails. So we all more or less have almost the same sails. So some people might adapt the sails a little bit for certain conditions, and some people are just better in certain conditions than others. But it all kind of mixes up to the same thing. And we all train, the best boats all train together. So we speed best together. So you know, the differences in the margins are tiny, and they can depend on such tiny things, you know.
Tom,
Um,
just for clarity, one design or French one design?
Sorry, I did take the French passport off me if I say it in there. A non-disclosure.
To all our French
So,
mates out
so,
there.
so it's one design. So it's one design,
Les.
Vicey.
No, it is fairly strict. Yeah, it is fairly strict. In fairness.
Yeah.
The Figaro 2,
Of course.
was definitely French one design. Stories there. Plenty of stories there. You can probably tell now, but no, they are. These ones are fairly.
So to
strict.
sort of follow up on Jordan's question, he was asking about the navigation side of it, and obviously picking shifts and understanding weather routing. So that obviously comes into it once you've all got the sort of same boat speed.
Yeah, exactly. The priority is the route, as they say. It's the most important thing. I think I have a theory. I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but that in sailing, because we love making boats go fast, and we love sails, and we love fairing hulls and playing with things like that. We love kind of gimmicking with the things going on. We get obsessed with boat speed, and I don't think, I'm not saying boat speed isn't important, but I wonder sometimes, do we put a little bit, do we take importance off weather and routing where we shouldn't, if you know what I mean? I think the balance could be a bit wrong. I always wonder that.
Yeah.
Easy for me to say because I have the speed, but in the fleet, I mean. But
well, it's all good and well going fast, but you can get a long way by going fast the wrong way.
Exactly. Yeah, if you're going fast the wrong way, you're going very quickly in the wrong direction. Yeah,
but being fast can make you a tactical genius, right? So
exactly. If you especially single-handed, you can make more mistakes. You sleep better, you eat better. You're resting, you're relaxed. And that's true as well. That's definitely. Yeah.
It's interesting. So when you're racing Figaro events, so let's say we Figaro class events. So when you're racing those events and you're offshore, and you're talking about your weather, what information are you getting? You've got no one off the boat doing any routing for you. You've got to do everything yourself, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're not allowed any outside communication at all.
And the one design element is that you're getting all the same weather information as well, or you're allowed to receive your own?
No, it's just whatever you get before you leave. So whatever's public domain access, you have whatever you can get. So it's basically the ECW, MF, and GFS and French and so weather files.
And so your information you're looking at, obviously it's not getting updated whilst the racing's on. So there's got to be that whole element of looking at the clouds yourself around you and making calls based on what you're seeing in the sky.
And the race directors do give us a weather forecast once a day, but it's a bit iffy.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. It's an interesting challenge, isn't it? When you think about it, like it takes you back a little bit. If you're not getting weather files on a daily basis, like you can't run routing software unless you can create your own group files. So you're going to have to. You have to sort of it's a little bit old-fashioned in a way.
It is a bit, yeah, but we get a bit technical. Like you can modify grid files in Adrena. There's a thing called a grid workshop where you can get the grid files that you had from the start, and they like the weather that you get from the race organizers is not bad from from if an anticyclone or a low pressure moves here or moves there, so you can get it in Adrena and kind of drag it, and it'll change the things a little bit. Yeah, but it is a bit of poetry, all the same, as you say.
Yeah, wow.
That's a bit of observation required.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's
no, it's brilliant.
What's the hardest part for you? Like when you're going to sea, like do you suffer seasickness, or do you suffer from lack of sleep? Like what's the hardest part?
The race start. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I'm not, because I didn't grow up racing. I'm not very good at contact. I'm not very good when there's a boat, 3 feet away from me.
Right.
So I'm often a bit iffy at the starts, and the start is often very, very, very important.
Yeah.
Because often we're leaving, we're at the coast. There's not a whole lot of wind, and usually we're going offshore, so there's more wind. So the fleet elongates. Yeah, exactly. So that's definitely my weak spot is the starts. Yeah.
When you are offshore, do you have a pretty strict routine, or bit of seat of your pants, or just experience tells you when you can and can't do certain things?
It depends on the weather, really. I'd have a weather plan and a strategy plan, and then life on board, I suppose, as you say, would fit into that. So you'd have like, right, I'm going to have to eat now or sleep now or look at the nav now or rest or whatever. That'd be kind of pre-planned beforehand.
It's pretty cool.
A lot of people ask me that. A lot of people ask me about time on board when you're sailing solo or shorthanded, and it is, you do get into a rhythm, and you do find your own pace once you're out there after the first day or so.
And the thing with the Figaros, it's so intense. You know, we're all like within, you know, you can see almost all the entire fleet. You know, so it's not like you're in the middle of your, you know, on your own and you're in the middle of the sea and you peel an orange and you kind of look around and think about life. You know, you're on it all the time. You know. Can
you communicate, like, you know, if you're that close to range? Do you have a bit of banter between the boats?
There is, yeah, especially like if there's 10 knots of wind and everyone's going downwind, then there's quite a bit of banter. There's a couple of traditions and stuff. It's actually funny, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a good one.
Are we allowed to know any of these traditions? Yeah.
There's one when you go. There's an island called Ile Dieu.
Yeah.
Ile Dieu, and for the rookies, when it's their first year, the race director rings over the VHF and we can order honey. So like everyone kind of goes, "Hello, Tom. Just taking your honey order from the old lady on Ile Dieu. How many pots of honey would you like?" So you'd say, "I'll take 10 pots of honey or whatever." And then you can hear all the old fogies would do it first, and then you'd have the rookies be like, "Oh yeah, I'll have the same. I'll have like three pots of honey, please." And then when we get on land, they'd be like, "Where's your honey?" So that's old tradition.
That's a weird one. That's weird.
It's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
How about some of the other French, having sailed with a few Frenchies, some of the other superstitions? Like, have you managed to pick that up? Like the rabbits, and you know, they're pretty hot on the superstition side.
I was on a boat before and the captain got really pissed off because someone said rabbit. Got literally like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, they got in a big argument over it.
Wow.
We had a can of quick. We had a can of that quick, you know, the chocolate drink, and it's got like a rabbit, a rabbit on the logo. Yep. And Seb like lost his shit when he found it. Like,
that's mad.
Oh yeah, blew up, and we're all settled down.
What traditions do you have in Oz? What are the
red undies normally?
What?
No. No, nothing really.
No,
we're not like the French nor Italians. The Italians like to grab their balls every now and then, just give them a little rub.
Oh, the only tradition that seems to be is that whatever boat I'm on's got to come first.
Well, that tradition gets broken all the time, doesn't it, Jay?
32 minutes, we'll take that bit out. No,
in Ireland, you're not meant to whistle. If you
whistling's one.
Yeah, that's
an old.
Whistling brings the storm, right? Whistling brings the storm.
Well,
you can only whistle when there's no wind.
Yeah, that's it.
It brings the wind. Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah, you got it. Yep.
Don't turn up to the boat train.
Actually, we should do a bit of a superstition.
Oh, it's a good call.
Special,
a global superstition
show.
Global superstitions.
Yeah, wow.
People can ring in.
There we go. Yeah. That's a good idea. Good idea, Bossy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
There was a mini called Brett on Lapin, which was like Brett on Rabbits. Remember that one? No.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day.
Jesus.
Just
Frenchies would have stayed right away from it.
I think his mast broke. just saying.
So you say one of the things you just said there, you know, you didn't grow up sailing, and so you're not great at start. So, is your how did you get into sailing? What, like, are your family sailors, or is it just that you were?
No, I grew up in. I come from the northeast. Before I met Les.
Yeah.
No, I grew up on a farm actually. I grew up on a farm in the northeast of Ireland, between Dublin and Belfast in the country. Cattle and sheep, yeah.
Oh.
Cattle and sheep, yeah.
It's
cows are all right. Sheep are horrible though.
Oh yeah. BP, you've clearly upset the cow union, mate. You keep the way you keep dropping in and out. You're going to have to behave. Is all I'm going to say. Might pay to go.
Yeah, I'm not.
Keep the cow chatter down,
good
cow.
shape.
Yeah.
I'm not in good shape. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, so I mean, we've worked out all the unions in the ocean, but now you started with the cows. I don't know why you're like this. You've got the cows upset, so settle down.
Yeah.
So we could probably ask Tom. Like you're obviously growing up with cows and sheep. What's some of the secrets you learned there? Did any of that translate? Is it getting up early?
What I learned is that I did not want to be a farmer.
Yeah.
It was horrible. No, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't much fun. You'd be in school or whatever, and your friends would be going back off playing football or going doing whatever, and you'd be going back to count sheep or count cattle or whatever.
Wow.
I suppose get used to being wet and wearing wellies,
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Hard work. Well, it's hard work too.
Yeah, it's hard work.
You don't wear the Dubries on the farm, do you? That's.
Oh, look, my proud sponsor Dubarry, didn't give me didn't have boots back in the day. I wouldn't mind it though.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was just going to say. So, have you got like brothers and sisters that are on the farm still, or?
No, I have two half sisters.
Okay.
One's in America, one's in the UK.
Okay, so is the farm still going?
Planted? No. We my father. I left when I was about 12, and he put trees on it
Right.
because he fell ill and he couldn't look after the farm anymore really. So
Okay.
that was it.
So there's no fallback. This whole sailing gig is everything. And then, so what made you go sailing in the first place? Why was it just?
Because he must have he'd been sailing before and he got some notion. I used to watch you lads. I used to do pirate movies, and he'd done a bit of sailing, and we used to explain to me how the pirates would put themselves to windward or whatever, and then we used to start watching the Volvo Ocean Race, which was on every Tuesday in Irish. It was in Osgailga, it's called. It's like in our own language, with English subtitles. And I used to watch that every Tuesday night, and it'd be like, these boats tearing through the Southern Ocean. I think that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And one day he got an ocean and he bought a little wooden dinghy, a Marauder it was called. I don't know, you probably done it English, I think. A little wooden thing with red sails.
Yeah.
And we used to take it out on a lake. There was a lake down the road from our house. Real shallow lake that you could actually walk cattle across in the winter when it would freeze. But so we used to keep crashing into things just as well as a centerboard, because you'd be sailing in the summer, you'd be sailing through the lake and boing, just hit something. Yeah. What's that? No, it's grand, keep going. So that's where I got the bug, but the problem was sailing wasn't cool at all where I was. We all lived, we lived for Irish football, which is where Australian rules came from,
Oh, right. Yeah.
Aussie. What do you call it? You probably just call it football, yeah?
Gaelic football, I think we call it.
Aussie rules.
Aussie rules.
Yeah, we call
Footy.
it Aussie rules, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had no friends to talk about sailing or anything, and it was like my hidden little secret, I'd have I didn't have any magazines or anything, but I'd watch the Volvo Ocean Race and kind of design boats on me things. So I couldn't. None of my friends wouldn't even listen to me when I talked to it.
Wow.
So it kind of fizzled out. Yeah.
So you got the loner thing all worked out, doing things by yourself. You got that worked out from age of 12.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's a pretty sort of strange thing. So, obviously that Volvo, watching the Volvo, and you sort of saw another life in there, obviously. And so watching all that must have just stuck in your mind. And when the opportunity came to go and hang out with Les, that was it. Away you went.
Yeah. It was like watching people walking on the moon, watching that.
Yeah.
It's like, geez, that is so cool. And I looked at it, whatever. And then when I actually went to college, I tried to go to college and did agricultural science of all things, And it was mad because I was in school. I remember seeing in school, and the teacher, the career guidance thing, I remember I found this thing in England, in the UK. I was like, look, in Southampton, there's this thing where you can go and be about like ship science and there was things about sailing and naval architecture and everything. And she was like, no, that's...
No, go and farm some potatoes.
Yeah, exactly. The farming. I was thinking Charlie and Joanne ended up doing that. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. It's amazing. Imagine if you'd gone there, but you found your own pathway, which is the important thing. And it sounds like it's been a pretty fantastic thing. Can you imagine? You're the only Irish person to have ever won the Yachtsman of the Year twice. It's crazy.
Am I? The only Irish person to have won? Am I? Geez, I didn't know that.
Oh, well,
That's Irish Sailor of the Year.
Irish Sailor of the Year.
Yeah. I would have. No,
Actually-
I didn't know I was the only person to have won it twice.
So when you did win Irish Sailor of the Year,
There's a free bar I got.
were you considered a Frenchman?
No. They still let me in. They still accept me.
Yeah.
We're very fickle in sport in Ireland. We're very fickle. When you do well, you know.
I just see under your partners on your website that the French Chamber of Commerce are a supporter. I'm guessing that's got something to do with your tax status.
Oops. I'm afraid I can't go there. No comment.
I may be wrong on the only one to win it twice. I may be wrong. I'm just going back through names. I was just trying to think who could have won it twice. But anyway,
Annalise Murphy, maybe.
I think she might have. That's what made me question. I wondered if Annalise might have won it a couple of times. And if Annalise, if you're listening, we love you. I hope she's enjoying married life now. Congratulations to her. It's going well. But yeah, it's a big deal, you know, like from a little farmer to, you know, sailing across a little shallow lake to becoming Irish.
You know, I was lucky. I met a lot of. I was helped a lot along the way, and really, honestly, I couldn't have done it with the openness and, you know, how friendly they are over here in France and stuff. It sounds cringy, but they're just like, you know, there's a lot of people helped me. You know, it's just such an open kind of industry over here, and it's so helpful and friendly. And the Bretons, I suppose, are really Celtic as well. So maybe I don't know. It kind of took me under the wing.
So you got that from day one, basically. When you turned up to knock on the door, so to speak, pretty much they just accepted you into the yachting community.
Exactly, yeah, and it's just so open here. I don't know, like you could go. I actually went back to the lake I started sailing on. There's like you're being generous calling it a pontoon. You know, it's like a thing with a few boats on it, and there's a big barrier. Like you can't even walk onto the pontoon because there's a barrier with like strictly no trespassing, stay away. You know, we will prosecute you. And you walk up to it, and there's a voice automated saying, "Please stay away, please stay away."
Wow.
Yeah, and in Lorient, there's like come on
down.
The biggest, most expensive ocean racing trimarans in the world, and the Imuccas and everything. The pontoon's wide open. You wander down, and people will talk to you. Oh, how are you? If you're lucky, you might even get a visit of a boat, and everything's like that here. I don't know. It's just so open and accessible, and people talk, and you know, I don't know.
It's amazing scene, isn't it?
We often say Lorient. We often say Lorient's the mecca of the sailing world. We love it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not far off.
Amazing scene. It truly is an amazing scene, and good place to hang out. All right, so going forward, so what's your program this year, and then let's talk about the Vendée stuff and what you're trying to do there. So let's rip into that. So obviously you've 25 seasons kicked off. This year's sort of the double-handed year from in the French world, I think. So, but you've just do you say solo Guy Cotton? Is that Les's brother? Like solo Guy Cotton?
You don't know Guy?
No, I don't know Guy.
Gee.
It's actually one of my sponsors, so I shouldn't joke. No,
okay.
The gear. No, they won't mind.
Yeah.
Solo Guy Cotton, Guy Cotton just finished last week. I came 7th, so happy enough. You know? One bad leg. And that was the only big single-handed race of the year. And as you said, the whole rest of the year is either double-handed or crewed. So I've 2 or 3 Figaro races. And then I'm doing a 3 months with an Imocca, with a big Imocca team. I don't think I'm allowed to say which one yet.
Okay.
But they round Europe?
Cool. No, we're doing around the British Isles.
Oh, okay.
Smurfit Kappa, it's called. Yeah, it should be cool in the middle of June. Apparently it's as far north as Cape Horn is south. So.
Okay.
Oh, you could announce on this show who you're sailing with. That's fine. No problem with us.
Well, if you cut out a bit about the tax credits, I will not tell you. But no, I'm doing that, and then what's the Fastnet with them?
Oh, cool.
The Fastnet, and then they're not doing any ocean race stuff. So hopefully, maybe that might get me into the kind of Imocca world, and I might hitch a ride for the ocean race because I'd love to do that someday.
Can you imagine?
Have you done much on Imocca stuff today?
No, not a whole lot. No, not a whole lot.
Can you imagine, mate, just before you go further on that if you do a bit of the ocean race. There's going to be a video of a boat you're on, and some young Irish lad's going to be watching that, and it's like a repeating cycle. Can you imagine if that happens?
Yeah, that'd be mad. That would be the kind of pick me moment, wouldn't it? Jesus Christ. I'm not there yet, though. Let's see.
Yeah, so obviously you're in that scene. So if you can do a bit more on the IMOCAs, that sort of fires you up. So have you sailed any? Have you been sailing much at all?
A little bit on the one that I'm going to be doing racing on.
We can't say.
And I did, I did actually a bit of sailing with Oliver here a couple of years ago when he was just getting ready. A Swiss guy who did the last Vendée actually.
Mm.
And then what else did I do? No, that's about it.
Must be pretty cool. Like we watch it from afar, but seeing the evolution of the IMOCAs and to what they are now, but to actually see them rolling out of the shed in the water with the new foils and stuff, like actually in front of you, like yeah, totally.
Because my first Vendée when I was here in France would have been when Gabard won.
Yeah,
you know, so I've seen them. It would have been just on the back of the Mich days, glory days. You know, so I've witnessed the whole evolution of the thing. Yeah, it's crazy.
With your Figaro experience, when you got to the IMOCA boat, this mythical, let's just call it the secret IMOCA boat, did you try and put the foils in the wrong way up?
No. I was very careful every row.
Learned that lesson.
Every day, like, can I winch that? Can I winch that?
or the other way around. When you got back in the Figaro, you put those foils in upside down.
You must come for a spin, and then you'll see. Everyone always laughs at the Figaro foils, and then they come for a spin in 25 knots, and then they stop slagging me.
Okay. We're not slagging you off, mate. We're just having a bit of a laugh. But so tell us, how well do they work? 25 knots? Were they getting the boat up? The boat lift off in the Figaro?
Yeah, it will, because if I have the outhaul rope break, you know, when they're full speed.
Oh, really?
So they do make one hell of a difference. So then you feel it fairly quickly, you know. So
they give it quite a bit. Yeah, sure.
300 kilos of lift.
Riding moment.
Theoretically, of lift.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Nice. All right. So from that perspective, with the rest of the year, you're doing, as you say, it's a bit of double-handed stuff. I think. Are you doing oh God, I'm sick of this pronunciation. I'm just going to say it in Aussie. The Trophy Laura Vergney. Is that?
You don't make it easy, do they?
We've got, how many names have we got? So you've been hanging out with Guy, now you're off to Laura. Is that your next event? So that's pretty much a couple of days away, a week away.
Yeah, that's next week. Yeah. That's the next one, yeah.
Double-handed. So you're straight into that. So you're not doing there's a race going across the Atlantic. Bloody hell, the Transit Paprick, the mixed double-handed stuff. Paprick. You're not doing that?
Yeah, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I didn't have the money for it.
Okay. Yeah.
Fortunately, so on with that the IMOCA racing, I need to keep a bit of energy in the tank for the rest of the year. So fortunately, and I've done that.
One of the things I reckon in my research, you're going to do a lap around Ireland to set a record. Is that?
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that. Everyone loves doing a lap around.
I actually did this right, because I had this idea a long time ago. I'm gonna give you the scoop. I had this idea during COVID when everything got locked down and all our racing season was cancelled. And I was kind of thinking, right, I got this cool boat with like sponsors and stuff. What could I do? And I thought, why not go and break the Round Ireland single-handed record? Because it was held by an old class 40, and the average was only 7 knots or 7 and something knots.
Right.
And I kind of thought it might, because coming back to what I was saying when I was young, Irish people don't really care about sailing, but they love, everyone understands a record, the most cans of Coke drinking in an hour or whatever, everyone understands that, So I said, why? Geez, I'll do that. And I kind of thought about it. And then our racing came back on, and a kind of idea went out of my head. And after the Figaro 2000 that year, I think I was having a few beers, and I said it to Marcus Hutchinson. I was like, don't tell anyone. I'm going to do this. I told him my idea. And then he let it slip.
Yeah.
But I actually went back and did it a few years. Yes, I did it last year, and that was the aim of it. The idea was just to really make something a bit more accessible and a bit more that anyone can understand. You know, because as you say, you can barely pronounce the names of the races. You know, and the Solitaire du Figaro pap break, and it's on time, and it's gonna be complicated, and everything's in French. And I was like, just go sail around Ireland.
Round Island. That's a pretty easy one to
Fairly easy,
pronounce.
Yeah.
Unless they said
The
it
only
in
problem-
Gaelic, like if it was
Yeah.
the name was in Gaelic,
God.
then we'd have a bit of an issue.
Yeah, even with what I wouldn't know how to say it. But, the only problem is I didn't break the record, so I'll have to go back and do that someday.
Oh,
To have another crack.
another crack.
Another crack.
So, if you're trying to do a Vendée campaign, so what stage are you? Like you're at that stage where you just put your hand up saying, "Yeah, I'm going to do the 28 Vendée." Is that the best way to describe it? And you're reaching out to try and pull in the dollars.
Exactly, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah. So
I've decided I'd love to do it, and we're looking for it.
So will you, in that situation, what's your plans? Are you going to partner up with any one of the programs, or you'll do a second-hand boat, and you run the whole thing yourself, or you're going to go, if somebody trumps up with, quite a bit of bucks, you'll build a new boat and go?
I don't know. I think the first rule is to find the dollars, as you'd say.
Yep.
But I think if I would do it, because of the whole Figaro thing, I think if I do it, I want to do it well,
Yep.
I don't think I
guess,
be...
Tom, along with the evolution of the mockers, something else which is probably a bit scary is also the evolution of the budgets.
Yeah.
And you'd say the top 10 boats, I don't know the numbers, but they'd be pretty, they'd be quadruple what they were 10 years ago.
It's scary. It gets me a bit worried, and it's nerve-wracking, the amount of money. You're talking about money like that and going asking people for that sort of money. I'm not very good at it, so at least I have someone that helps me with that, because whatever with the Figaro, worst case happens, I lose a sponsor, I lose Everton, I can still work and be able to pay off the bank to pay for the boat. But in Imoca, imagine if you change a pulley, it's almost you could refurbish my whole house with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, the stress of it all. So I don't think I could live. I did enough hard years with the Mini, and especially the first few years of Figaro, of just being stressed and living like the two with God. But God love my partner, we were living on a mattress on the floor. I'm just stressed all the time. I couldn't. I definitely don't want to do that. I'm not that pushed to do the Vendée Globe, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to go back to that again.
Yeah.
So BP probably did it. It's just not. Life's too short. And I'd love to say it, but if I get the chance to do it and do it well, we're gonna jump on it, definitely. And the ocean race.
Just in a stage of directing your energy that way and see what happens a little bit.
Yeah, we have some good meetings and stuff, but I suppose it's from having a meeting and going to the bank is a big difference.
So speaking of the money side, just talk us through your partners at the moment.
At the
who
moment,
is Kingspan and what do they do and that sort of stuff?
Kingspan are they make insulated panels, so basically they wrap up buildings. So anything that you want to insulate inside or outside your house or factories or even solar panels.
And where does their inspiration come from to sponsor sailing? Is it just are they a French company or global?
No, they're Irish actually.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, it's gas. I grew up with them. They used to sponsor the local football team. I've known them my whole. Well, I don't actually know them, but I knew of them my whole life.
Yeah,
it's gas. And then I just got a good introduction. And I never actually met them. I pitched them during COVID, like this on a Visio. It's just actually because I had a good year in 2020. I came fifth in the Solitaire du Figaro.
Yeah.
And which was the best ever Irish or foreign thing at the time. I think for a long time, can't remember. And the Irish Sailor of the Year, that was it, yeah. And got a good introduction and just pitched it to them. And they do a lot of sports sponsorship anyway, and they were getting bigger in France, and they just said, yeah, right, why not?
Yeah. Perfect fit for them.
Cool.
Sent them a couple of sets of Dubarrys. Next thing you know, whooshka.
Dubarrys, yeah. Do you have Dubarys in Australia? Footwear, do you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know, you're a good sailor if you got a set of those. Like that's.
Well, and
the reason I mentioned it so often, having sailed with a few of your countrymen just recently in Justin Slattery and Kian and a lot of the guys on the Galatea and Johnny Mordaunt, for example, like the Irish Sailor of the Month wins a pair of Dubarrys. And it just seems on rotation between all these same guys.
They're giving them away.
Love it. Love it.
No, I just have to get my nutrition sorted, you know.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's something that it would be interesting, you know, like what do you run? Like what's your program from a food program when you come on board? You're running Mars bars and
I'm actually
Oranges,
fairly
just
bad
peeling
I'm
oranges.
I'm fairly bad at eating. I don't eat enough at sea.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know, just the intensity of it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a delivery I'll eat all day, but I don't know, during the races, I don't know, I'm just too on edge or something.
Focused on your navigation?
Yeah, I don't know, just don't have the appetite. I'm getting better.
It's
Been a bit more time in France, though. Like, do you take, I guess it's a bit of an Irishism, you know, bags of potatoes, or you're, you know, a bit more French, you taking the French cheeses with you?
No, I do like, yeah, I take a good bit of cheese, all right, yeah. No, but it's all mostly freeze-dried cheese, and then I suppose I avoid sugar altogether, because otherwise you just get, you know, what you call it, shit, drops, and nuts and a little bit of chocolate, but nuts and berries and stuff like that. And no, that's about it. I actually, the mini transat, here's a funny story. The mini transat I was leaving, we were leaving from La Rochelle, and I was a bit nervous, whatever, and a friend of mine was like, here, look, make some hard-boiled eggs. Because that way, you know, they'd be easy, you know, easy to eat, because it was going to be windy at the first thing. And I was like, oh, good idea. Okay, so I boiled 12 hard-boiled eggs, you know, and I said, shit, where am I going to put the eggs? So I put them, we had like a pharmacy thing, you know, the kind of solid things, stuffed them in there, said, right, grand. Forgot about them. But sailed to the Canaries, spent a month stopover in the Canaries, you know, took 18 days to race across the Atlantic. So this was like 2 months later, we were in the Caribbean, and then, like, you know, someone cut their hand, you know, at the party dancing on the pontoon. He was like, oh, you know, you have a pharmacy, whatever, and opened up the thing. Oh God, 2-month-old egg in there. Not good.
Imagine if you'd opened that at sea.
Forever known as the Irish egg.
Yeah. God, dear. All right, cool. Very cool. We're sort of coming towards the end of the time. Like, if you were a young lad in Ireland, right, and you were told that this is what your life was going to be, would you be excited, or, you know, has it been a great journey for you, or would you want to go? You tell yourself to do something different?
Oh no, absolutely, yeah. I'd say Jesus, absolutely. So I'm so lucky. Like, look at it. I paid to sail, you know.
Yeah.
Paid to be a sailor. It's almost like the dream job, really. And the thing what is so cool about our sport is that there's so many different types of boats, you know. It's not, you know, there's so many things. Like, boats are flying now and everything, you know. There's multi-hulls, there's, you know, cruising boats. You can just do so many things. It's never the same, you know. So yeah, I'd say to myself, go. Do it. Try. Would have tried to do it a bit younger, maybe.
Do you have you're a bit young. Do you have a favourite moment at sea where something that's happened, you know, where you've just this is just wow, this is the right reason I'm doing it. Something that you just love, a thought where you've just gone, yeah, whether it's a race or.
I think it was. There's probably two moments. The first one was that first race I won, the first mini race I won back in 2016 with the new boat.
Yeah.
That was it. That was really something, because I spent all winter getting the thing ready, because I didn't have enough money for a full boat, you know, and I'd spent all my father's inheritance on it.
Wow.
So I'd really bet the whole, you know, everything on it. And, you know, spent 3 months, you know, I put all the electronics in the winches and thinking, geez, what am I doing? You know, this isn't going to work. And, you know, I kind of went off and I didn't know what was going to happen. And then when the moment where you sail, you know, when you win a boat race, you sail into an empty port, you know, there's something. It's mad. I never thought of that. And then you sail in, there's no boats there. Like, jeez, wow. You know, that was funny.
Am I in the right port?
Yeah. Where's everyone?
Am I one, or they've all left?
I've either won or I've lost by an absolute mile. No,
that was
it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to do that, especially in the mini fleet, because it's pretty hotly contested. So
yeah, it's not easy, is it?
Mm.
And then the second leg of the Figaro last year that I won, because It's so rare. I've seen it happen so many times that someone leads the whole leg, and then you sail into, the
Oh,
coast
get
on a
it.
hot summer's day, and the wind goes all shifty, and everyone sails past them. There's so
Yeah.
many stories of it. So like, I'd actually sail, like, lead a whole leg and then actually finish without, losing everything. That was
Yeah.
that was mad. That was really crazy. That was the moments going saying, "Geez, I look like never don't try not to forget this."
Wow.
Realize how lucky I am.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Well,
amazing.
so cool.
It is so cool.
Oh, it's brilliant. So lucky.
Well, you're going to have a whole bunch more fans now watching you, mate. So just remember, you got all these people.
Well, you'll have Nick and my mum. They'll be
Yeah,
all
my
over.
mum's definitely going to be on, mate.
Make sure they like.
Speaking of
Who's this
fans,
Jill Perry? Who's this Jill Perry and Jan Bice?
what do you do from a social media point of view?
Tom Dolan.
Yeah.
Funny because there's an American singer called Tom Dolan.
Oh,
And
Yes.
the
Yes, I'm
Olympics.
gonna say,
he's doing that.
there is
He's
American
doing that
folks in
little
there.
Figaro stuff.
Figaro.
that's
Because
good.
we bring people guests, the sponsor, we bring guests out sailing,
Yeah.
like they bring them out to an island, have a restaurant, whatever. It's so funny sometimes they show up because there's an Olympic swimmer and there's a singer. Sometimes people show up and be like, "Oh, you were at the Olympics before, were you?"
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Women.
Yeah,
He used to swim.
transition.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Love it.
A common name.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Cool. All right,
Yeah,
Tom.
very cool.
We might call it there, buddy. We know it's well past your bedtime, but yeah, you got a whole lot of fans. I just realised, BP, when you said Jill and Jan, I've never clicked, and my mum's Joe, so all three of our mums'
Oh,
names
there
start
we
with Joe.
go.
Yeah, triple
She
J.
did.
Never actually clicked on that one. But yeah, so Tom, absolute joy to chat to you, mate, and you're doing grand. You're doing grand.
Glad.
Leave the accent.
I thought, to be honest, I was expecting way worse, lads. Go on.
But yeah, mate, best of luck. And when you do, when the announcement comes out for the Mocco, I mean, we can make it up if you want, but when it does, just let us know.
I will. And thanks so much. Thanks a million for having me. And if you're ever in Brittany, let me know.
Yeah, no stress, mate. And good luck for the season. I'm sure that there'll be a few more people watching, so make sure you get out there and give it a good hard crack, eh?
Thanks a lot, lads. Thanks.
Yeah. Awesome, Tom. Nice, mate.
Cheers, lads.
So Tom touched on the community aspect of the French sailing. It's true. When you get yourself into the minis, for example, the way that they do bring you in, if you're a good bloke or good girl, they'll give you a lot of information and a lot of knowledge, and you do feel very much a part of community. And as you can see, he's immersed himself into it. And for anyone out there listening who's interested in the mini side of things, it's definitely a good stepping stone to this. It does lead you, if you want to push to this type of thing. It's good.
I reckon you should join the crew out there, Jordan, just to work on some of the French pronunciation. So I noticed, like,
great.
Tom was just flicking between the Irish and the French. It was like it was like symphony for the ears.
If you guys,
I mean, who's Laura Vergney?
listen. Every time I try and do it in a proper accent, you blokes take the piss out of me. So I figured, why not? I'll just do it as an Aussie accent.
And we could take your piss out of you anyway.
I can't win.
And still take the piss out of you.
You guys do the voices. You guys do the announcing. I can't win.
No, because you do it so well.
What? I've got my French mate. I'll ring him up.
In all honesty.
Go on. What are you saying? All honesty.
I'm just saying, in all honesty, the mini side is a great stepping stone and a great fleet to get involved in. So if you are interested, it's well worth it.
How much do you get paid by the mini class, BP? You are the number one promoter of that.
Oh,
class.
mate, I should.
Yeah. Oh well,
I did 6 years, so
Yep. Oh, cool. All right. Let's move on. So, in events that are coming up, boys, what are we? We're recording morning, dawn of the 5th of April, evening of the 4th of April in Europe for BP. 14 to 19 April, the International Mirror Class World Champs going to take place in South Africa, the Point Yacht Club. All the little red sails floating around on the water out there. That'd be cool.
Many yachty cut their teeth in the mirror dinghy, my friend.
Yes, yeah.
Including Sam Reid, for that matter.
Sam.
Good luck to Sam Heritage, of course. Love to refer to.
There's a bit of off-air joke going on. So one of our mates, Sam Heritage, is in South Africa at the moment. He's about 6'4" and 110 kilos. So I doubt he's doing the Mirror Worlds. But anyway, also 20 April Transat Paprec mixed double-hander Figaro class. So that is a go. So that is the mixed. So racing across the Atlantic. So they leave from right where we were discussing our friend with Tom, where Tom's based right now, in Quantico.
I guess kind of related a little bit to this. We've seen quite a few expressions of interest out there for the double-handed championships, which are coming up at some mixed double-handed.
Yep.
Everything in the socials.
Yep.
So that's going to be something to keep a close eye on, my friend BP.
Well, this right there, they're going to St. Bartholomew in the Caribbean, so you'd know it well, Bossy. Just
I've got an I'll give them the address to the villa we stayed in. Yeah. You can probably buy about 10 boats for the cost of it.
The life of a pro, hey. And also next week, the 11th of April, Pittwater Coffs starts, boys.
Yes.
It's a 1 p.m. start. So Pittwater to Coffs, that heading north from the beautiful Pittwater in Sydney to Coffs Harbour, which did get a little bit of a bashing as part of the cyclone that went down the other day. So I think there are a little bit of a limitation on numbers.
Okay, yeah.
But, it should be good. There's a gunboat doing it, mate. Have you had a look at the fleet?
Not closely. No, I've been concentrating more on your event coming up, Jordan Spencer.
Oh, the Brisbane to Gladstone.
You and Weet-Bix, the Brisbane to Gladstone.
Yeah.
Always downwind.
Yeah, that's happening.
Never like this.
And it's always some scintillating stuff in the commentary box.
Yeah, Good Friday. Yeah, that one is coming up. Make sure you tune in, so you'll get a live stream. I think it's on KO. It's on YouTube. You can go just to the Brisbane to Gladstone website. But yeah, live stream commentary.
It's everywhere.
We got Lisa Darmanin as part of the commentary team. Yeah, Weet-Bix,
Nice.
Damo,
Yeah.
and the J Dog. We
Oh,
sound
mate.
like a triple J
Up in
breakfast team.
Up in the commentary box.
Weet-Bix, J-Dog, and there you go. Yeah.
Damo.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to do that one. We'll bring that joke out. All right, so there's plenty to watch. So there's plenty of sailing to pay attention to. With our listener, the Jack Lloyd listener of the week, we've had a bit come in this week. We've got quite a few emails coming in this week, but our friends at Vycobi, remember every month we choose the best correspondents, and they win $200 voucher from our friends at Vycobi. I saw they just launched some new board shorts, boys. So if you know,
Don't they do? That's what I want to know.
don't they do?
That should be the website. This is actually the stuff we
That's how
don't
you
do.
got it. That's the way you got to look at it. You're right,
Yeah.
Vicey. What
Yeah.
don't they have? And look it up, and I bet they do. Bet they've got it.
I tell you what they do have. They do have the Barcarati UV tops, boys.
Oh,
The hooded UV tops. So if you're looking to get a bit of sun protection, Barcarati tops on that website. So you don't go to our website for that one. You just go that way. We've got no stock issues, and you can just pick them up as you want. So just order them as you get in your gear. But yeah, the UV tops are there. Their new board shorts, all the technical gear. The Vycobi boys doing it large. Righto, so let's go to some messages, boys. Our first one, Chris Sizer. Speaking of sponsors, did you boys see that email?
yep.
Who wants
Well,
to
it came through via
the website?
the website, message from our contact form on the website.
Mhm.
And Chris couldn't find we'll need to look this one up.
Yeah,
Their
so
BP.
I'll
The
read
Radix
it.
code didn't work.
As
Let's
I'm
go.
listening to your pod every week, I did so as well today while preparing my 1985 Banner 28 IOR races. So we can visualise what that boat looks like straight away, can't we, lads? He's
I'm
preparing
typing it in as we speak.
for the big splash.
It would be red, yellow, and blue, big fat stripes down the side, big fat pregnant guppy looking thing
Well,
with a
definitely
1,000
yellow and red
kilos of lead
speaker.
in the bills.
Yep.
Oh,
While
there
listening
she
and
goes.
standing off the old anti-fouling, I got pretty hungry and wanted to try the Radix online store with the Barcarati discount code. Unfortunately, it did not work. I could not figure out why. I tried different ways, capitals and small letters, but the shop always rejected the code. You might want to check with Radix guys if the code is still active. It's definitely still active, but it could be the fact that you're in Germany. We're not sure. We'll follow up on that, Chris. Is that right, BP? We'll follow up on
Chris,
that.
yes, we will. We'll look into that.
Yep. Okay. BP will follow through on that from Portugal,
There
where
it
it is. So yep. It's thank you very much for letting us know, and good on you for jumping on board and having a look and going for it.
And Chris, you will know, I've just shared with the boys the Banner 28 photo of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fine
Exactly,
looking ship.
exactly what
It's
I
ahead
thought
of
it would
its
look like.
times.
It's exactly what I thought.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's exactly what was in my mind. But gee, what a glamour, Chris. Look at it go.
Beautiful.
She's a glamour. That's a classic IOR
We
boat
love
from the
that.
mid-'80s. What a beauty. Good on you. Very cool. I love
I'm going to
looking-
type. This is a new website I've found.
Yeah.
Sailboat data. I'm going to put rainbow in here. Let's have it.
Oh, go
We've
for
lost Spicy. We've lost Spicy. Type in cows and sailing, see what comes up. Drew Harper. So he's subtly playing the game here, but we're happy to play along with him. Just wanted to thank you for the inspiration. Pretty rough around the edges, but it's a start. They need to figure out how to make it funny. He is, of course, referring to he started a podcast, the Spinnaker podcast, navigating the modern landscape of sailing. So I hope all is well and good in our world. It's a wholesale shit show here. So Drew Harper punching out his own podcast.
Good on you, Drew.
Spinnaker Sailing. So best of luck to you, mate. And making it funny, like you can make it bad, a bit like us. The three of us, we make it bad, but hopefully you can find the secret to making it funny, boy.
The secret sauce. That's all you
The
need.
secret sauce.
We're not sure where it is, but we'll keep looking.
Secret sauce.
Just
add the sugar.
Ryan Nelson, boys. So Ryan, for those who pay diligent attention, he is luxuriating in his new Vycobi kit because he did win the gear, and we gave him we did give him the kit because of good letter, but he also sent in how he's promoting an event and doing all this amazing stuff.
Happened to be 505s.
Yeah. Well, no, it was 5.0s lasers. It's a dinghy event. So, but it's irrelevant about the 5.0 thing. It's just that most good sailors like to sail 5.0s BP. That's all.
Of course, that's right.
Yeah. So he's just written back, hey guys, thanks for plugging my event a couple of weeks ago. Truly love how you guys support the sport, worldwide sailing, especially 505 sailing. Look, we're not biased towards 5.0s in any way. The 5.0 Worlds container showed up directly from Adelaide at my sailing centre 2 days before the event. So we had a stacked 9-boat fleet. So that's perfect. We've got a full range of conditions. Saturday's racing saw sunny, 65 degrees. That's bloody hot. 65 degrees. How hot's 65 degrees, boys? You couldn't get outside. You'd be dead.
Minus 32 and a half at 7 degrees Celsius.
Is that
something like that?
It's Fahrenheit, whatever the American thing. But yeah, in 65 Celsius, that's too much. But with a dying, sorry, it was a bad joke. This is this whole comedy thing that we don't have going on. Dying 6 to 8 knot breeze. Sunday was a cold 55 degrees. That's very hot where we're from. And it started at 12 to 15 for the first 2 races. By the 3rd race, we were blasting around 30 to 35 knots of breeze and stoked. Handful of boats fresh from the Worlds combined with several of our local boats, 3 of which were new owners and crews. Welcome to the class. Challenging conditions made for lots of passing lanes, tactical mark rounding, good stuff. Howie won the event followed by Mike Martin and then Mike Punnett. Looking forward to hosting next
Some
year's
big
event.
names there.
Yeah, and he's got us a video. So the quest for Hailing Island, episode 4 of his Spring Dinghy Regatta. So on his page, Rogue Rigging. So if you jump onto YouTube and find that, we probably try and share it. So that was a good one. Any comments, boys, before we continue on?
Continue.
No, keep coming in with the info though. We like it all.
Yeah, love it. Denise, this is about parenting, Bicey.
Quite appropriate this week.
Yes.
Denise. Yeah.
Okay.
I've actually printed it off and stuck it on the fridge.
So one of our favourites, we've awarded a Listener of the Year, I think, before. She sends us a lot of stuff and we love it. Thought about the three of you after Jay's comment and Bicey at the schoolyard. So obviously last week, if you're listening, we made a bit of a joke about kids. And Denise sent a little thing for Bicey, which apparently is put on the fridge. Some parents run a tight ship. I run a pirate ship. There is some swearing, some drinking, and a touch of mutiny from the tiny raiders I created, which is lovely. That's pretty much your kids, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
Are they this one swearing and drinking, or they're... Anyway.
Well, yeah, take your best guess, basically.
Cool. Very cool. Thanks to all the people writing in. Remember, cheers at Barkarati to send us anything. And, you could win $200 worth of gear from Vycobi.
It's hot time with Bice.
I don't know if you saw Bite. BP was like mid-yawn, like full head raked back, mid-yawn, so tired. And then the little Hot Time with Bice tune comes on, his head starts falling.
Oh, can't wait till we go live, guys. And you're going to have to just learn that little strum on the guitar, BP. Ready for hot time. I'll have to pop out the back, put my leisure wear on, ready for to rip the pants off. Off we go.
Jay will have to get onto the triangle.
Cowbell.
Lead cowbell.
Lead cowbell, yeah, sorry.
Not much going on this week, tell you the honest truth, boys.
Yeah.
Apart from, of course, the Princess Sophia.
Yeah.
Currently underway.
Yeah.
When are we? So they got 1 day left, as far as I can work out.
Oh, as we're recording, but by the time this goes to air, it's over, yeah.
So some of these results, well, I won't necessarily go through the whole thing, but there's definitely some dominance happening in a couple of classes. And the first one includes the 470 mixed with the Brits well out in front. Probably can't lose it from there. So, and the reverse curse working well for our mate Gray Morris.
Yeah. See the IQs, they've gone to, they've downsized the rigs, I think. Like, I'm trying to remember, I think they had a 9 metre and an 8 metre. So the guys on a 9 and an 8. And now the guys are going to the 8 and the women are going to the 7.3, I think. And this regatta, they're on the new smaller rigs, I believe. Is that right? Did you guys heard that at all?
Oh, no. I don't keep up with that much technical information. No way.
No.
I think that's what's going on.
We're still trying to work out how they score the bloody thing.
Well, bloody hell, we got a 1Q CR, so that must be qualifying races. Then F finals.
Oh, he's got an F.
Don't know. Anyway.
Anyhow, move on.
Anywho, Gray's doing nicely there. Who else? Let's have a look at it. Across the fleet also. It's actually pretty tight at the top on most of the fleets. The Italians are taking out the NACRA 17s, just doing it again at the moment.
Yeah.
So we'll expect them, I guess, they've got their finals today, as far as I can figure out at time of recording. Ilka 7's getting dominated by the Poms, by Mickey Beckett, by quite a ways. Won't be hard to see him get beaten. Zoe Thompson taking out the Ilka 6s at the moment with
there you go.
Wow.
another friend of the show with Mara Stransky, currently in 9th. So From what I understand, they've probably got one more days left of finals as well. So, but
That's an interesting result, isn't it, in the scheme of things?
absolutely.
Yeah,
But
boys.
what I am noticing there, and I could be reading this completely wrong, guys, in regards to the results, but it looks like different weather in the finals because the guys or girls at the top of the list who have dominated during the qualifying aren't getting the greatest results during the finals. Have you noticed that on the when you looked at it? But anyway, a bit more research required. But what else? So we got the 470s mix, 49ers, the FX, the foiling kite boards, men, women's, Ilka 6, Ilka 7, IQ Falls, NACRA 17s. So it's all obviously the Olympic classes.
Yeah.
And this is part of the Grand Slam, the first leg.
Yeah, it is. Speaking, last week we mentioned that, the Olympic classes. Last week we mentioned that 2032, the Olympics stuff, they announced the sailing venues. I think we mentioned that last week.
Yeah, Whitsundays, yeah.
Yeah, up on the Whitsundays, so up basically Airlie Beach. And I read through all that stuff during the week, and they're talking about races around the islands and stuff like that, which is that's not happening.
Day race.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Sandwich.
I think
make sure you get the sides.
I suspect
your banana.
a non-sailing journo may have written the article.
Your banana and your green shirt.
But it's a game changer. I was thinking the logistics of it because, pretty much everyone assumed it was going to be down in Brisbane, but now going up the far north there, you're not going to have. I just don't know how they're going to do the training because you're not going to go up there in our summer. Traditionally you would come down to Australia in summer. The Euros would be, would come down here and do their summer training through Australia and New Zealand and do that. And because the Olympics are going to be there in 32, can you imagine sailing up there and doing your training?
What time of year? July, August or something?
Yeah,
October?
It'll be July, August, exactly right for the Olympics, which is perfect time. That's the time to
sail up there
to the far north. But if they were sailing up there, they'd be stung by irukandjis and jellies and all the,
or you just sail there call it the Olympic months, and then you migrate south.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
that's it.
I just feel like we need to get that on record.
Base yourself up there for that period, and then come down and do the sail Melbourne and sail Sydney and all that jazz.
Yeah, so for our northern hemisphere,
or the other way around.
Yeah, if you're thinking you're going to sail up there in December and January and that sort of stuff, I wouldn't advise it. I'm sure some of the northern Queensland locals are going to give me a bit of grief, and it's probably not that bad. But you will want to be fully covered, stinger suits, the whole thing. So, but yeah. I just thought, it's going to be interesting.
I guess the big takeaway from this is it's 8 years away.
Yeah, I know. But when people are setting up, when they do have the Olympics, boy, is it going to look amazing. The conditions are just going to be superb.
Maybe we could have a word to the Jellyfish Union.
Oh,
see if we could move them offshore for the year.
For the year. Wow.
Well, we do have a contact there. We do have a couple of contacts, so we'll get. Well, let's do that. We'll give them a ring.
Do we? I didn't know we were connected there. All right. Okay. What else, boss? Sorry, I got distracted there.
This is kind of local. Sale Port Stevens has been on.
Speaking,
they had the the TPs there last week, and now more the sports boats. Basically, quite a bit of. Well, first of all, the location, Port Stevens, one of the finer places people can find themselves on a sailing vessel.
Place to sail, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is a fantastic place to sail.
Gorgeous.
As for the results, I've got fuck all for you. I haven't even looked at it.
I've got a photo here of like a 50-footer, a windsurfer, a little sports boat. Everything's on the water right there, so it's pretty cool. All the fins there,
all you need to say, Bicey, it's just a bloody great place to sail, and everyone's having a great time. That's it.
Probably one of the second best place, maybe.
The second best.
Yeah.
In the world,
of course, Paul Lincoln.
I was okay. Yeah, I was wondering where it was going. I heard we did debate whether Port Lincoln was still going because you didn't attend this year, Bryce. So we're worried that everything would have shut down.
No, I'll have to check my key.
Yeah.
My key to the city, see if it still works.
I love it.
Yeah, they've changed the locks.
Not
Right.
let that bastard back in.
All right.
We had quite a civilised regatta without him there.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah. Hey, this is pretty good, isn't it, eh?
all right, lads. I think we lost the plot on this week's episode a little bit, but it was good to chat to Tom.
Did we?
Yeah, I think we're funnier than we are. It's good to chat to Tom though. I really appreciate taking the time. I think that's us for the week, though, isn't it, boys? We're done.
Yeah.
Where?
Yep, we're done.
Hey.
All right. So, of course, if you feel like contributing, and if you, one thing we haven't mentioned in a long while, if you're not happy with what we're doing, the
Send money?
tradition, send money. That's the traditional way. If you just send us a bit of cash, then we'll know that you're not happy with what you're doing. But otherwise, we'll assume we're doing a good job.
That hasn't worked well, has it, for us?
Reach out to us at cheers@barkarati.com. Go to Radix Nutrition, the website. Use Barkarati for a discount on us, unless you're in Germany at the moment, it seems. And, of course, our friends at Vycobi are the people that you wanted to get all your technical gear from. We will be back next week. We've got a really interesting one lined up. We've got quite a bit lined up at the moment, so it's good. We've got
we're actually looking like we've got a bit in the bank, so it's exciting.
Yeah. We've got a bit of trouble.
Hopefully, I can get away from these cows and actually have some good internet.
Oh, dear. Imagine if
How long are you there for, BP?
Oh, I leave on Monday morning, mate. All done.
Cool. Signed off.
Cool.
Good work.
Signed
Another far X2 on the water.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, everyone. Have a great week.
Later.
Later.
Later.